Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. It seems like some people just get angry because they have to share the road with other vehicles. If only he had a nice, fresh, hot cup of coffee to spill all over his lap. Well, at least he wasn't even wearing a seatbelt. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I'm going 10 over. Still tailgating me? Here, let me show you something. I'm driving to work a few months back and getting close. I have 2 turns remaining until I turn into the building. It's just a few blocks away. All side streets, no highways involved. This guy behind me's in a black BMW and he's on my butt the whole time. I see him checking his phone and then making angry faces at me and getting closer and closer. I speed up a bit thinking it might calm him down. 5 over. Nope. Anyway, I make the first turn and am now on the street where my building is, maybe 600 yards up ahead. The a-hole is still behind me, driving inches from behind me and obviously pissed that I'm still going the speed limit, maybe 35 on this street. So I speed up a bit and see he does the same. I drive an 8-year-old Toyota truck, not one of the big, huge ones, but not one of the small ones. I do have all-terrain tires, and I've certainly driven through pastures, over rocks, popped a curb or 10 in my time. My suspension's in good shape, and I have no problem treating my decade-old truck like a truck. Well, as I get closer to my building, there's a large speed bump in the street, effectively to get people to slow down as they approach the parking garage entrances. I look back and see the a-hole still riding my bumper. I remember thinking to myself, I need to slow down for this speed bump, and looking back and thinking, if I hit my brakes, this guy's gonna hit me. The plan takes shape in my mind, and I speed up. I'm doing about 45 when I hit that speed bump, and yee-haw! I did a bit of a jump and land, never once touching my brakes, didn't even tap them. I gave him zero warning for what was about to happen. I'm watching my rearview window intensely during this because I wanted to see his reaction. He was cradling his cell phone between his ear and shoulder when he hit. His hood bucked up behind me, then slams into the ground. I see him go flying out of his seat straight up. He slams his head on the roof of his BMW and his head rolls sideways from impact. Then he slams back into his seat violently. He has a total WTF was that look on his face as he grabs the wheel with both hands to recover. And yes, he slowed right the F down after that. And our second story. How to not rent a house. I used to work for a property management company advertising and renting out properties. I dealt with a lot of chooser-beggar types, but one woman stood out among the rest. I had a small single-family home to rent out that was in good condition and very clean, but was not very attractive. By this, I mean it had a kind of ugly flooring in the kitchen and bathroom, 1970s dark wood kitchen cabinets. Bathroom had really ugly brown tiles covering the walls that clashed with the bright yellow toilet and sink. But everything worked fine, and the rent was quite reasonable. I knew that I'd have a lot of people who would want to rent this property. I would have gladly rented it myself if I had wanted to move at that time. So I scheduled an open house on a Saturday afternoon, got a stack of applications ready, and got there an hour early to mow the lawn. As soon as I start mowing, a lady pulls up in a fancy SUV. She tells me she needs to see the house now because she has to go to work. So I tell her I can show her the house, but I need to at least finish mowing the front yard so it looks decent for the open house. I can't let her go in the house and look around by herself because that's against our company policy. So she sighs and rolls her eyes and stands there watching me work. As I'm unlocking the front door for her, she starts telling me about what she would need to be changed in order for her to live there. The ugly porch light needs to be replaced, she needs brand new blinds put on the windows, the living room needs to have carpet instead of hardwood floors, etc. As we go from room to room, she complains about everything and asks me why I'm not writing this down. I told her because there's no way the owner's going to do these improvements. The house is being rented as is. But if she wants to make a list of all the work she wants done herself, she could submit it with the rental application. All the rentals require a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent to be paid in full before moving in. This is clearly stated in the advertisements for all of the properties, so she tells me that she wants to rent the place, but she's not paying a security deposit, and she wants the rent to be lowered because she's going to need to do all sorts of work on it. I tell her there's no way that's going to happen, and if she wants to rent the place, she needs to fill out an application. I have paper applications, clipboards, and pens if she wants to fill one out right then and there, or she can go home and fill one out online. So she takes a paper application and goes out to sit in her car and fill it out. I'm glad to have her out because other people are starting to show up for the open house. Then I look out the window and see her talking to other people who are just getting out of their cars. The new people get back in their car and start it up, and I run out there to see what's going on. The woman had told them that she was the rental agent and the property was already rented. She drove off, and I figured that was the last I'd see or hear from her. We got several good applications, and later that evening I approved someone for the rental, and they put down a security deposit to hold it. Monday morning, the woman shows up at the rental office and tells the receptionist that I told her to come in and get the keys for that property so she can make a list of everything that needs to be done before she moves in. We never ever give the keys to anyone before the rent and security deposit is paid and the move-in inspection is done and the lease is signed. The receptionist tells her she's mistaken, that it's against our policy and the property is rented to someone else now anyway. She starts yelling at the receptionist and saying that she was denied her rights to apply for the house, that it's not in a livable condition, and that we're slumlords, and she's going to sue us, and she's not leaving until she has the keys. The receptionist feels threatened and calls the police. The woman left in a hurry, and thankfully, we never saw her again. I'm really happy to no longer work in property management. Who demands carpet over hardwood floors? You should have denied her on the spot for making such a request. And our last story. Karen doesn't like people parking in front of her house. So when I was around 6 years old, I lived with my family in a nice house in a small city in Poland. It was a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts, and pretty much all the neighbors knew each other. There was no sidewalks around the part of the street I lived at, only one crappy sidewalk that started on the other side in front of my neighbor's house. It's important to remember that the sidewalk was very old and in bad shape. Still to this day, people are asking the city to fix it. This story is about that neighbor, Karen. She was an older lady. Everyone suspected that she really didn't have anything better to do than gather gossip and disturb everyone trying to rule the street. Everyone was commenting that if you wanted to get the whole area to know something, all you had to do was tell her that message as a secret. Whenever someone came to visit us, they usually parked their car in front of our property, but on bigger meetups like barbecues or parties, people would park in front of our closest neighbors' houses too. That never was a problem. No gates were obstructed and no one was disturbed. Well, almost. Karen hated when someone parked in front of her house. She would always run out yelling about how we dared to park our filthy cars on her precious sidewalk. My mother's not someone that lets someone yell at her. She had many discussions with Karen about the laws and rules that stated that she doesn't own anything outside her fence, which means that the sidewalk is public and anyone can park on it as long as they leave enough space for a wheelchair to pass. But that wasn't enough. Every time someone would come to us and park their car, the yelling would start, until one time when my mother's friend, Tomek, came for a coffee during winter. He's a local policeman and his specialty is road law, so my mother tells him about Karen and her behavior regarding the sidewalk. Tomek laughs since that thing was in such bad shape that it can barely even be called a sidewalk. When he was leaving, he assured my mom that he would stop by the next day for a coffee on his lunch break. Next day comes by, and I was playing with my brother in the snow. We see a black car pulling over in front of Karen's house, and as the driver gets out, Karen storms out of her house yelling, "Okay, you can't park there. This is my sidewalk. Get your filthy car off my prop." Well, there he was, Tomek, with his full uniform, hat and all, turning around towards Karen as comically as he could. T. Excuse me? You tell me that I can't park my car here? Okay, yes? T. But this is a sidewalk open to the public. K. Yes? This is my sidewalk. T. So let me get this right. This is your sidewalk? K. Yes. T. And you're the one responsible for taking care of it? K. Proudly. Well, yes, I am. That's why I don't allow anyone to park here. T. Oh, that's so nice that I found you. Since it's your sidewalk, you are responsible for clearing the snow from it to not create danger for the people walking on it. Since it was not plowed, I need to write you a fine for endangering public safety, he says as he pulls out his notebook. Okay, but no other sidewalks are plowed. T. Oh, it doesn't matter. The other sidewalks belong to the city. The clearing crew is working on cleaning them, but since this sidewalk is yours, it's your responsibility. K. But I'm old. I can't shovel the snow. T. Then you need to hire someone to do that. Of course, if this sidewalk happened to be of public property. K. Yes, it's not mine. T. But a moment ago you were yelling at me that it was, so what is it? Is it yours or not? Because I don't know if I should fine you now. K. No, it's not mine. T. All right, seems like we cleared that up. Now, if you ever harass anyone like you did with me, it could result in a fine. So I recommend you watching out from now on what you claim to be yours. And then he proceeded to cross the street and enjoy a coffee in our house. Karen never disturbed anyone for parking in front of her house again. She would only stare at people trying to burn holes in their skulls with her sight. I believe the local name for this person is called a Kerensky. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.